Familia, what is up? You are listening to The Progressing Male with your host, Francisco Gomez. And in this podcast, we are going to be creating a safe space for men to be talking about their emotions, to access their emotions. We are going to be challenging cancel culture, because if we say something that's out of pocket or that you disagree with, just sound off in the comments below. Join the conversation, because this is a teachable moment for all of us. You heard me say we a couple of times, because you know by now I am not alone. I have got Kane Silver and Dwayne Nosworthy in the house.
Gumbo, fam.
Incredible, multi-talented artists. And we are here for season 2, and we are ready to talk about some situations that are happening in the world.
What you got for us today, Cisco?
Popping.
Today is actually a difficult one. A few days ago, we lost a light to the industry. Stephen Twitch Boss, multi-talented dancer, choreographer, who you actually may know from the DJ for Ellen DeGeneres show. He was the beautiful, talented black guy that was in the DJ booth, and they had the most amazing, Bonnie and Clyde kind of relationship, you know what I mean? And he died of suicide, allegedly suicide at the age of 40, leaving 3 kids behind and a wife. And I only met him twice, I believe. And I know a lot of people that know him. But for some reason, guys, it destroyed me. Yeah. And it was difficult to articulate why, because my, obviously, first of all, we lost one of our own.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because obviously as dancers, we might not know each other, but do you know what I mean? Like, that's one of us.
Yeah.
But I had to take a nap because I was so distraught. I was on the way back from IKEA, and I was just like, I just couldn't stop crying. And I was like, what is this? And it was because when I woke up, I could finally articulate why. And it's because the ingredients that could lead to someone taking their own life, even when it looks picture perfect, is something that we all go through. And I don't think a lot of people understand outside the entertainment industry just the extra baggage that we take. And so I want to take this opportunity and just to stress that this is not saying that this is what he went through, but there is a common thread that it doesn't matter how successful you are, we go through. I don't know any other job that every single time you go to it, your rate is questioned or lowered immediately. I don't know another job where you are told to wear less or take this off and judged there on the spot and being told that you're not enough or that you're not right for the job purely because of your appearance. I don't know another job where you do the best you can and then you get paid 2, 3, 4 months later, if that. I still don't know another job where when you go there, you're supposed to sit on concrete floor, or there's 20 of you in a room that can only fit 2 or 3 people.
Right.
And I also don't know a job where when you walk into there, the other departments always look at you almost like extra baggage, not even extras, as in extra baggage, and like you're always an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Even though we're doing something that's so superhuman and is a talent, we're never seen on the eye level as a person, and we feel that in every job. We might not allow it or take it, but you can feel that.
Right.
The dance department is always targeted and just seen as something that's not serious. Yet, we have been the backbone to so many performances and the reason to highlight non-talented beings. Because not everyone who's got a record deal is talented. Facts.
Right.
I don't know a job where, on top of me trying to live a social life, my integrity is always questioned because being on stage doesn't seem like a real job. Me accessing my passion divides families, gets me ostracized.
Wow.
You become a black sheep or the joke because they see it as prancing on the stage. I don't know another job that does that. I also don't know another job that once you make it and the years that you put into training, and then when you get there, you don't find the fulfillment because you think that dance is actually going to get you somewhere emotionally, and it doesn't. So you're living the dream, but really you're as an empty vessel.
Right.
So the juxtaposition of that you will experience throughout your career, if not all the time, sometimes. And I also don't know a job where like there's nothing to back us up. We don't have a union. We don't have anyone that will be there in terms of the law to protect our mental health, our well-being, and the stuff that happens on the jobs. So when you see all this stuff on top of other stuff, and you guys can add, for the first time ever, I could relate to something as dark as suicide, because I don't know any other profession that constantly you're never enough, that constantly you're worrying about that paycheck, that constantly my talent, my light is not, it doesn't exist in your currency. And you're always seen as a sideshow Bob. Like, that is crippling to the psyche. That is crippling to someone's insides.
It is.
And then on top of that, if you're a man of color or a woman of color, you then have the disadvantage because all those decisions are still being made by white people. And the reason why black is seen a bit more and it's cooler now is because everyone's trying to be politically correct. And you also feel that.
You do feel that.
You're still a token.
You do.
You still feel that you're there to make the statistics even out.
Even if you're in there with majority black, you still feel like this has been the token.
Do you know what I mean?
Majority, like as in we're fitting in that statistic or that thing that's needed.
And that has its baggage too.
It does.
So, and this is a direct message to ITV, BBC, ABC, NBC, all of the houses that do the films and stuff like that. When you say stuff like, oh, the dancers can do that, why can't they just stay an extra hour or extra 2 hours and get paid nothing? Or like, when the fee is supposed to be $2,500 a week and you narrow it down to $1,200 and it's because you're supposed to be there and be happy with what you got. If you understood the crippling effect, everyone is one step away from being suicidal. Because those stuff that I just mentioned, I think is only a third of what they're going through. Because then women have got their other experience and their own experience.
Of course.
On top of that.
Of course.
So I don't know another job where psychologically, if you write things down, it doesn't make sense to do what we do. Why would we?
You only touched on it in terms of the job. I think where you went in the beginning of your speech, like you said that we all have the ingredients. Like we're all kind of one step away from those thoughts and those moments. That's what really stuck with me, even as a performer, as an artist. Everything you said, us three can identify with that because we're performers, we're artists. So we know exactly what you're talking about. But even those of you that are not, the thing that Cisco said and touched on was that we all know the ingredients and we're all only one step away from kind of like having those thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Because we all have it. We all go through some sort of trauma. We've all been through something that contributes to us feeling fucked.
And it's like a constant poke or a constant chip away. Every single job.
Yeah.
Am I going to get paid on time? What is the rate? Even though you should know what it is. All these things that every single job, regardless of where you are in the pyramid, you're always going to go through the same shit. And it makes you feel like a mug because what it always does, stations, films, choreographers that don't back and directors that don't back up your dancers, that chips away at our self-worth. And your self-worth equals value. And if you don't have value as a person, let alone an artist, what are you doing? Who are you? What are you? And I just don't know a profession where, and I keep on saying that line because when I finally could articulate that, and for some of you, I don't know if you saw the other episodes where we touched on depression, for example. I was depressed in 2020. And a lot of it was because of my self-worth that I'd suppressed because to be taken like a mug and disrespected to that extent with what the globe was going through, I wasn't ready. Everyone's got an off switch button.
Right.
And fuck knows what happens when that off switch happens. What could happen. And to be in a position, because Twitch's career is very special because he came from reality TV, won his season. He then managed to be a DJ on the biggest show in America with one of the biggest TV personalities in the world. He's got one of those careers where it was bigger and it surpassed Just Dance.
It did.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's an achievement in itself. It's incredible. And then you've got these 3 kids and a wife. Stunning. And you were put in a situation because of life's collections, right? What we collect in life and our industry specifically, because he didn't have another job as far as I know. He was an entertainer,
Right.
as his bread and butter. And the only way out of all that reserved pain and discomfort was to take your own life.
The sad part is that we wouldn't see it because we don't know him like that. But we didn't see it. Like nothing. And that's the part I think you're talking about, like why you say you just don't know it in our industry. Like we're all about the smiles and putting on this performance and all these things, but then we go home and you're sat there thinking, am I going to get paid? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? I've got 3 kids. Like, do you know what I mean? Fair enough, myself and Cassie, which is the mother of my kids, we're no longer together, but I still love and adore her and honor her and want to provide for her and my family, our family dynamic. And sometimes that can be a struggle. That can be like a fuckwit with your head where like you said, your worth, where I know my worth, but it doesn't stop me from doubting it from time to time.
Of course, because also, like, let's be real.
Yeah.
To an extent, all of us have delusion dust. We have to. It has to catch.
What did you call it?
Delusion dust. We go.
That's why, like Cisco, man. That was beautiful though, isn't it?
I
love that.
Also, it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, you're right.
Every single space that I've been in and my career, in comparison to the average,
Yeah.
is so different.
Yeah.
I've walked into spaces where I've been King Kong.
Yeah.
90% of my jobs. So for me, it's knee-jerking when you try to diminish the amazingness that I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But to an extent, it's still a front because delusion does it hyper-extends the imagination. But the reality of things is I'm not being seen as the dopeness and amazingness and the rarity that I am. Because me and your office job upstairs, the people that are doing the scheduling and stuff like that, I can do that. You can't do what I do. And yet I get less rights than you. I have to beg for my food when I see all of the runners, nail technicians, or whatever get meal tickets, and I have to fight for a department to give the athletes, the artists, food. What do you think that does to you?
You are right.
And I woke up so angry from my nap after I cried because I was just like, it was almost like I wanted to name and I was like, these studios, these directors, these people have blood in their fucking hands. Because it was the first time that I can see a common thread between him, the decision, and us.
Let me ask you a question on that then, and Kane, you can help me make sense of it. Do you think that it played a huge part in his decision to take his life?
Dwayne, how can it not? Because I remember, like, you put yourself in a situation and it's like you are in one of the top tiers of what a dancer can do with their career.
Yeah.
And you are appreciated and loved by many. And what I've heard, and I can't, again, this is alleged, it was something to do, one of the components was maybe, allegedly, financial situations.
Wow.
Okay? And it's like, when you have kids and you're supposed to be putting them first, or at least pouring into that, and being a husband, and trying to make ends meet, being an artist, of course it does.
Yeah.
Of course it does.
Right.
And it's weird. It was like an unspoken kind of like light bulb switch. And I was like, the reason why I'm so distraught about it, it's because I can never, ever, ever feel what he's feeling or whatever, but the components that could have played
You
into
can
that,
feel.
oh my God. And I see it in my students, I see it in my peers, and I see it in even people that are more successful than me who are actors or whatever.
You see it in all of us.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like it's a proper mirror.
And
I see it in every last one of us
and
sat
how
here.
it got there, those people, whether it's purposely or subliminally or whatever you want to call it, are responsible for that because I don't sign up for that part of it. I don't go to my directors and go, move your dickhead, or like move your, like there's a decorum attached to the position that you are. Human based and then position based. And we don't get that. When you put me in a room
Yeah.
with no sofa, no beanbag, no water, no nothing, that makes me feel like cattle. And just because there's a roof over it, it doesn't mean that that will do.
No.
But to them, it's like, oh, solution. 20 dancers, one little room. What could go wrong? Like, it's just dancers. We just did a film together, us three.
We did.
We did a film together for a very big company, Disney.
I love that. He made it out like...
To say it. He wasn't going to say it, and then he's like, I can't help it.
No, I can't help it. Because you know what? Blood in your hands. Because listen to
You
this.
have no hair, Cisco.
Gay people, we have 8-inch weaves.
Sorry. My bad.
Weaves.
And one of the stuff that I was like, are you serious? Was not only how production was speaking to some of the dancers, but the access to the food and nutrients that we need was not met. So there was 130 of us in total.
Yeah.
You've had half a year plus to plan this. So you telling me that you can't accommodate seating, waiting area, and food on tap for these artists to have is inexcusable. Because if you thought you'd struggle with that, then guess what? Half that cast in half and CGI the motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Because that little bench tent that we were at, yeah, scorching sun.
It was scorching.
With these costumes that were theatrical as fuck. And we had, kid you not, primary school, which is preschool for my American listeners and viewers, benches,
Like
no cushion, nothing. We had, it was dirt, earth on the floor.
They were uneven, they were wobbly,
where we would put our bags on our belongings,
Yeah.
right? With one aircon machine that if you were close to it, great. If not, great in the bad way, because it wasn't great. You were like melting.
Yep.
And then next door, there was this measly little tent with not even spring water, purified water, and like snacks that didn't make sense, because it's like, I can't eat this while I'm shooting in the sun in this costume. When I'm doing the most, living the dream, how am I supposed to be eating like a Snickers bar or like a cookie? Like, no, like, give me nutrition, give me juices, just ask what your cast may need, and then find a common middle ground, and also have enough for us. Because literally 10 meters round the corner was this beautiful, elaborate food truck with this other tent that was like the tuck shop of all tuck shops.
like the Ritz.
Like the Ritz. And you're just like, wait a minute. So the actors or the dancers that had acting roles can have all this, but us, you limit us to 3 rows of shit, and one of those rows is water. You're disrespecting.
Yeah.
You're disrespecting. And so I took it upon myself, and thank God our choreographer, she was gold star. When I mean like,
Amazing.
like when I say, when there's people that don't hold the fort for dancers because that they're uncomfortable having that situation, she was the opposite. So it got dealt with in less than 24 hours. But until she got involved, we were losing that battle, because I remember someone saying to me, what are you complaining about? And I'm looking at this person who, no shade, is a university dropout, still doesn't know what to do with their life. They're doing this job because it's just a check situation, and they're all fuzzy-duzzy about it because the company's big, but that you don't know yourself. You don't have no special powers. You have no talents. And you're telling me? And that's why I had to drop the line. Bitch, some of the people in this cast are more highly decorated than the lead role of this film. So don't get it twisted, brethren. We need more.
Did you see him switch it up? Don't get it twisted, brethren.
Like, don't get it twisted. And
Real
so
talk.
shit like that, even though we get a result, that reserved anger and the audacity of me even have to have that conversation hurts.
It does.
And it chips away. And eventually, you don't have the arsenal to protect yourself. And that's when the mind or the demons within then come, flip the script, and swipe you out.
Those are facts. You've nailed it. Those are
Do you know
facts.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's what I hate about the industry.
Because the thing is, like, they'll go, oh, what are you complaining about? And they think it's just that one thing. But it's the knock-on effect of every hurdle that we have to cross every day.
Dang.
It's not about the big things. Most of the time when something big happens, normally it's for a reason, and we can go, we understand how you couldn't control that. We can try and work this out. But it's when all the little things, the things that you go, that's not a big deal. But it's not to you, but it is to us, because we faced 5 of those things, and it's only 8 a.m. and it's day 32 in the Big Brother house.
Yeah.
Like,
You're so we face 5 of those little things that become huge because they've affected us and chipped away, like what Cisco said. You're right. You're spot on.
it's not about the big things. And that's what, even in real life, I think people big things happen, and as humans, not even as dancers, as humans, we're strong enough to overcome big things. We've all overcome big things in our life, but it's the little things that chip away at us that people go, they'll be fine. It's the continuous little things are the things that really take their toll, and that's for me personally anyway.
Yeah.
Like, big things I can handle, I can put on my big boy pants and go, right, let's figure this out. But when it's constant little things that you go, I'll figure
I
it out.
guess it's because you can see it, okay, innit? Like a
Yeah.
big thing, it's there,
Yeah.
right in front of you. And if we see it, we go together. Shit, that's huge. What can we do to solve this? Those little things, it's those undertones.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Those things that people are chipping away at
it's
you.
like our transportation to go from one fucking set to a holding area. You can't walk. There's 130 of you, but we didn't bring enough buses to get you all there. But you're not allowed to walk, so you're gonna have to stand there for 40 minutes. What? Like, yeah, it's not that big a deal. Well, no, it's not the end of the world, but you've known this for 6 months, and this is every single day.
The dance department is always the afterthought. And I don't, and that's why I said when we were having this conversation, a bit like when you go to schools in certain professional institutions where they have videos how to treat people for sexual harassment, how to treat people in case of a medical emergency. The same thing needs to happen with dancers and performers, because people just, as basic as it is, people don't know how to treat us. They don't see us as artists, and they don't know the etiquette and the decorum attached to dealing with us on a daily basis.
And we weren't even the bottom of the pile.
Hello.
Like, they treated the, what they call, it's not extras.
Essays.
Supporting artists, supporting actors.
Yes.
They treated the essays worse. We had to walk past these guys, and it felt awful, but it's like we had no other choice
The
or
lunch,
alternative.
right? The lunch
Lunch. We had to walk, but they had to, and they would line them up to watch us go and get our food and pass them. It's like they wouldn't allow them to sit down and wait for us to at least go get ours, or do 10 of us and do 5 of them. 10. No, there was not. It was just they would let them line up and watch us go get our lunch.
And this is for the biggest company in the world.
And
What's
the
it like
richest.
What's it like on smaller ones? Like, how bad is it then?
It's just weird because I've been in the industry for 20 plus years, and
As have I.
it just hasn't really changed. It's just
Such a shame.
And it's just like, we could blame dancers for not standing up for themselves, great, but then we can go a step further back. Agency representation. If you're taking the percentage when you got me, then we have equity. Love you guys, but you're shit. You don't do shit.
Yeah.
And so there's this undertone of not knowing what actually should happen because we're not seen as human. And that is the most offensive thing, because in my personal life, and this is me personally, I know who I am and what I bring, and I will not stand for X, Y, and Z. But when I'm in a professional situation, I now all of a sudden have to go against my core value and my self-worth and deal with that, because it just has never changed.
Because
So you have to learn how to dodge it or dance with it. And so, because going back with the Twitch situation,
Yeah.
so many things will add up eventually and ultimately, unfortunately, take you out.
Which it did.
And
The point is, it did.
It's so sad. And it's because it's like, if we were treated how we were supposed to be, paid how we were supposed to be, on time, spoken to how we were supposed to be, and our professional environment was a space that we went to and wanted to be there because we were protected and respected 24/7, like everyone in every other department should be anyway. You really think that mental health with the stuff that we love, in the conjunction with that's going to be an issue? Why would it be? Because we're getting paid for doing stuff that thing that we love, that makes us breathe, that makes us jump up in the morning.
My question to you guys is, and you might not even be able to answer it, but why would they not choose that route over the route they're choosing?
Because they don't know how to. They need a step guide, an ABC of how to treat dancers. It sounds crazy.
Well, it sounds like they need a step guide how to treat people, bro.
Yes, but remember, do you know how? And you know, I'll give you an example.
Go.
I can be, hypothetically, I'm not Cisco, someone else.
Yep.
How I treat you is a certain way. I go to a homeless man who I presume is a crackhead,
Right.
and I see him. I will be different with him. Right. I will flinch, or I will prejudge, or be like, ew. Or like, don't touch me, or like, oh no, I'm not giving you money, and ignore him. Immediately from going from the station to where it was with you, I've treated someone differently because his category, his name, homeless, is making me treat them differently. And that's how they treat us. The dancer category is a sub to what
They already have.
their core foundation of value of decorum. It's sub.
They already have that view.
Yes.
of
You should
us.
treat different people differently in
They do.
society. Like an elder, if you're in a black household
Yep.
and there's an auntie or a grandma, you switch up immediately.
Yep.
You're not changing yourself. You adjust because the respect needs to be ever present, and she needs to feel respect, or he needs to feel respect before you even say hello.
Yeah.
Because there's respect to your elders. So we're always switching to an extent depending on our surroundings, and that switch towards dancers is never good, or is never on top or eye level with someone else. It's somewhere in the pits. It's somewhere in the basement. It's somewhere that's not eye level, and that's why we get treated the way we do. I see it all the time.
I went in for a costume fitting this week for another job, and I was speaking to hair and makeup, and we were just talking about life on a movie set, and we were talking about budgets, and she said, "Oh yeah, the first thing they always cut is the budget for hair and makeup." And then I was thinking, that's funny because I think the first thing they always cut is our budget.
It's always us.
But maybe is it just us? Like, I think it's just us, but I'm just trying to think.
No, it's not just us.
But do you know what I mean? Because
They also feel the same thing.
Yeah.
From their point of view.
But that's what they do. They have us fight amongst ourselves. That's what they do. So they get, whilst they're sitting pretty in the penthouse with their aircon and everything, they have us, the hair and makeup, the essays, the dancers, and all the I'm gonna say not low level, but the what should I say?
The working class of the
Like we're at the front.
yeah.
We're at the front line.
Yeah.
Right. They basically allow us to look at each other and be like, "Why are you going first? Why?" And they make us fight over scraps. When in actual fact, we're all in the same boat. Whilst they're sitting pretty.
I just think we've always been the afterthought. We're always the afterthought. What it is, when they do the budgets and stuff like that, as much as they need dancers, and of course you need hair and makeup, they're just as important, because how do we look good or in character without them? But it's like, budget everything, whatever the actor needs, and whatever else their tricks and treats are, and then it's like, oh shit, but then we've got that department. So we distribute the scraps to that. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I've been in these meetings where they do budgets and stuff like that. And even though you decided, not the choreographer, you decided to have 20, 30 dancers and you've gone over your budget. Well, if we've only got the money for 15 dancers, but we want 30, how can we make that happen? Off you go. We're always the afterthought. And it goes back to that thing, because the reason dancer in society to them as humans is not eye level. And I don't know why that happened or how it happened, but that's how it happens. So these videos that I think that they should have, as dumb as it sounds and as ABC it is, they need a reintroduction. Because you know what? You don't know.
Like, and it can go from like, this is their job title, this is what they do, this is what they had to do to achieve this career and this. And then it might give people a different perspective on, wow, they trained 10, 15, 20 years to do this every single day. This is what their living lifestyle would normally look like.
This is what to say,
and
this
it
is
might
what not to say.
And it might make you go, oh.
No,
we should treat
definitely.
these different, and it sounds so dumb.
And no, it's not dumb. Exactly, that's what needs to happen. And even like quotes, like underlying racism, for example. Like, when you go to a black person, where are you from? And they're like, London. Like, no, but where are you really from? Stuff like that. No, that's micro racism.
It is.
Exactly the same thing with dancers. There's certain sentences, certain things that you wouldn't say or shouldn't say. And in this video, they have all that shit to learn, because when you speak to us, your chest better be different and your eye level needs to be here, darling. Here. Because, again, me and you, and I never met anyone feel this way, but me and you, different beings. You can even do a time step. That's tap dancing, by the way.
Okay, show off.
And so going on, because we just had a lovely little rant, but
Yeah.
this is what we go through. We are, honestly, and for someone, we've got very different careers, but the fact that we are going through exactly the same thing is not a coincidence or an accident. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
And so when Twitch's passing happened, I connected with him because of the reasons that we just spoke about, but also because, like my career, I did something past dance. So there's few of us that have got that special career, like a Paris Goebel, for example, or Lorianne Gibson, where we can be in front of the camera and we can be celebrated for the artists that we are. Do you know what I mean? But I can't associate losing anyone to suicide, because I haven't yet. I know, Ken, you have, and we've spoken about the loss of your brother. I don't think you knew Twitch, but was there something that kind of was like, ooh?
I met him twice, I think, but just like a, hey,
like
you're
a
right,
passing,
yeah, and always gave off the nicest energy, the loveliest guy. And for me, what I really struggled with, I struggled like when I found out, I messaged you, and I've struggled on two aspects. Sorry, it's hard for me to even talk about it. I struggled on two aspects. The one aspect was from an artist point of view,
Yeah.
and then the other aspect was from my personal experience point of view.
Yeah.
The artist side, I'll go that first because I feel like it'd be the most relatable to everyone, is that he is, if we look at like what we try to achieve as a dancer or a performer or an artist, like when we look at like what's the dream, what's the goal, what is the best that he gets, like we come up with all these names, all these artists, all these dancers, and like for me, he's there.
Twitch
It's
had
like
it, yeah.
he's done films, like everyone remembers him from Ellen or like So You Think You Can Dance. Like, yo, I used to go to my girlfriend's house in the morning when I was 13, 14 years old to meet her before school, and she'd just be like, "You're so nice, you come here every day." I'd be like, "No, bitch, I come there because you've got MTV and I want to watch Wade Robson."
Yeah, because he was on the Wade Robson project.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so for
Kept it
me-
real. Did you really tell her that?
No, never.
Okay, cool. She knows
She
now.
wouldn't let me watch. But I didn't have MTV and she did. So I used to go there in the morning just so I could watch Wade Robson project before school. And, you know, like he's had this incredible career that even me now, and I love my career, I would love his career.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's like the pinnacle. That's what we put as the top.
Mm.
And it's still not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that scared me. That really made me go, wow. Like my whole adult life, well, since I was 14, I've been chasing this dream. I'm now 32. Like, am I going to feel that way when I'm 40? Am I not going to be fulfilled when I'm 40? Am I going to have a beautiful wife and beautiful kids and this
And not be
huge
happy?
CV and still not be fulfilled? And it terrified me because I was like, I don't know. Like, we chase this thing. And I know I always try and say, like, we're really lucky that we dance. But we are lucky, but we've worked really hard at it. It's our hobby, but it's also our stress because it's our job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not our thing that we get to do to go and let steam off. It's also the thing that
Brings the
steam in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, but if I think of who made it, like he's made it, and it's still not enough.
Yeah.
And that scares me because I try not to identify as a dancer. I try and identify as a human. But I said this before. My biggest weakness is that I always put Kane the artist before Kane the human.
Yeah.
Like that is my biggest struggle. And now that scares me because I could see not me being in that headspace, but I know that is my weakness, that I put my work first. And
Which could put you in that headspace.
Which could in the future put me in that headspace. And it really made me go, I need to check myself.
Right.
Because I need to make sure that like I'm happy as a human, not just trying to fulfill this career or tick this box because that's what I think is going to satisfy
Yes,
me.
yes.
So from an artistic point of view, that's what scared me in that. And then obviously a personal view, like I've experienced suicide. My brother, if you've never listened before, like my brother killed himself. And then all I kept thinking about was how his kids and his wife must feel. Because it brought me back to how I felt and what I've experienced. And I can't even imagine that being like my dad. And then not only being my dad, but like it being your dad, and you can't even grieve like a normal human. You have to grieve and see it on every social media platform, all over the news, all these different speculations. It got released on TMZ before the family even got to say anything.
Yeah.
I think of all those things,
Yeah.
and I go, you can't even grieve like normally. Like when I grieved, I wanted to be with my friends, and I didn't tell people what had happened except my close friends, and no one knew. So I got to just go and live like outside and walk the park, or like go and get fresh air, or go
was so
hiking,
normal.
and no one would be like, "Are you okay?" Because they don't know. Everybody knows in the whole world about this, and I'm like, how are those poor kids, and how is she gonna
Navigate through that
overcome and
space.
navigate it? They can't just go, let's watch some TV as a family, guys, because
Right.
that's all they're gonna see.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. It really hit me, and I was then thinking about them and how do they pass this. Like, yes, it's so sad for friends and it's so sad for everyone else. But all I kept thinking about was them and how are they going to overcome it? Because I still struggle. 7 years later, I still struggle to overcome it. And it's not in my face every day. It was never in my face.
Because if I'm not mistaken, and pardon if I'm being presumptuous, even though you grieve, it still happens. So sometimes you think about it.
Yeah. Like
You
every...
never quite get over it.
You never get over it. And like every year... I was speaking about this yesterday. I was like, every year, like my brother's anniversary comes round, and I know when it is, but I always forget because I'm being work a dancer Kane. I'm going,
Yeah.
and then I'll get halfway through the day. I'll look on my phone, and someone's gone, miss you, da da da, and it's like a stab to the heart because I've been living my normal day life, and it's like that reminder, like, do you remember this time so and so years ago this happened? And it's like takes the breath from you. I'm like, they're gonna experience that amplified
every year. Yeah,
but amplified, because it's not just gonna be.
it's not private.
It's not
the world's
private. It's
property
the world's
too.
property. Like,
Yeah.
he's the world's hero. Like, I don't know. I really, really struggled from two aspects.
Wow. That was beautiful, bro. And you're not lucky. You're blessed.
Yeah.
Like extremely blessed, bruv. You're not lucky at all. As you said, you worked hard. Yeah. So you did this. I don't believe in luck in that sense. I believe that we make our own blessings, and you've made that, bro. You made that clear, and you articulated that just perfectly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Seriously,
Well done, mate.
you did.
It's never easy. It's hard. It's hard.
Anxiety is screaming.
No,
Like,
it's not.
But you did well, bro.
It's not an easy. It's not an easy topic, and the
No.
reason why it's not easy is because as men, to go that deep to something that's so traumatic, there's no layers to that. It's just trauma. It's full blown trauma. It's also very difficult to speak on, and so with me, especially with my straight friends, I was just like, my relationship has to change,
Right.
because if you're my friend, the love I have and devotion that I can have for you, whether it's not daily or constant, like it needs to be felt, because
That's
if
a good word.
any of us were ever in that, not in my watch.
Yeah.
no.
Do you see what I mean? Like, and I was just like, it just can't. And I may not be in your life 24/7, but if, and heaven forbid that was the case, call, because everything will drop.
The sad part, Cisco, is that when someone's going through that, they don't.
I know. But me, because
I know.
Fixer, I'm just
Of
like,
course, yeah.
I'm just like that annoying friend Cisco, just random,
I get it.
random. But because honestly, I think a conversation can also save a life.
You are
It's a
you are
step.
right. It's why I continue to talk. It's why I communicate in the way that I do.
It's so important.
Do you know what I mean? Like you articulated so well, Kane, and how you put it, like the professional and the personal. Do you know what I mean? For me, it was like that's probably what I did, but I never recognized it until you said it. So for me, it wasn't personal because I haven't gone through it like yourself, but it was personal as a man. So it's professional as somebody that's done what he's done, and I consider myself to be an artist. I've lived outside of just the dance world.
Yeah.
Like I love acting, I love hosting, and I'm doing that. I'm not on his level, but I love what I do. So I could understand how that must have been for him. But then just as a man, it made me go, other men are going through this.
More than, listen,
Like there's no way, Cisco, that other men don't feel this way. That's not even in our profession.
do you know the statistics in this country and in America of suicide? It's men.
Yeah, they
Like,
say that.
Huge jump.
And it's because we don't speak.
We don't talk about it.
And it just can't be that. That's why you're right. Not on my watch, but I also have to be realistic about that and go, as much as I don't want it to, and it can't happen on my watch. I can't be responsible for it in that sense.
But that's different, because you know you're right. You're right, because we can't take other people's problems.
I can't.
But what I started doing,
Yeah.
I started doing it kind of loosely, but now since Twitch is passing,
Yeah.
I'll call random people and you're going to get it and be like, hi, how are you? Mental health check.
Yeah.
And you're going to be very uncomfortable. It's going to be like, screw up. And be like, no, mental health check.
Straight.
Because you know what? Last week I wasn't good. How are you doing about whatever?
Yeah.
And it's just having that space where it's like, it can be somehow regular. And that's why men just speak to each other. I told one of my friends who I've been friends with for like 20 something years.
Yeah.
And I sent him a message saying that I loved him. I sent him a message saying that if anything similar was ever to even cross your mind, like if you didn't know that I was your number one call, I am. Because like not in my watch. And I just want us to have an uncomfortable conversation as opposed to me having an uncomfortable funeral.
I do that to my two other brothers. Like I'll,
Yeah, when your brother
I'll
passed.
randomly, but just now, like I'll randomly message them at like 1 a.m. and I'll be like, just checking in, just so you know, I love you, hope you're okay.
It makes a difference.
And like most of the time, they don't even respond. They're probably thinking, fuck off, Kane. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're fine.
That's all surface.
But
Yeah.
but
On the deep down,
but I
they
just need
are
them-
taking it.
But I just need them to get the message.
They are.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
you know,
They are.
like
Because you know this particular friend, he said to me, he's like, Cisco, I've never, ever had a man speak to me in that way, and it means, and he didn't say I love you back, because I can tell he was going to, because his way of saying it was like, he was like, yeah, and everything you said back to you kind of thing, but you know what I mean, but
Yeah.
I know
You know
this
exactly what
man
that
loves
meant.
me.
Yeah.
And also I know that that conversation was profound, because he actually sent me a voice note the next day saying exactly the same thing.
Right.
So one declaration of honesty and love to another man has now changed our dynamic.
Yeah, and it will forever.
Do you know what I mean? But imagine if we were all in a circuit, in a web where that was being done.
Well, that's why we're here.
Like when it happened, I'm in a group chat with a bunch of ex-dancers and like lads, and I mean, it's like the worst group chat of all time. It's constant banter. It's constant being horrible to each other.
Yeah.
It's constant like what we call lads banter, right? And
Boys' locker room.
yeah, like things that you don't want anyone else to read, but between us is really funny.
Cisco
And
saw
then
that differently.
they were like, guys, did you see what happened? Blah blah blah. And then one guy put, guys, like, can we just all be honest that we're all gonna have each other's backs, and if anyone ever feels this way, we are gonna help each other through it, because we are a
Yeah.
team. And it's the first time that like there was no joke made. It was just like everyone was like, yeah, love you guys.
Yeah,
Like,
good.
and it was like, you know, it's like it removed all that front of like the bullshit that we
Yeah,
put
yeah.
on to take the piss out of each other, or no one tried like shrugging it off, and everyone was just like, yeah, like we all got each other. And even just reading that was like, that was beautiful. Like that showed a side to us all that we know we have, but we don't show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And because we don't show it, I think that we think people don't have it.
Yeah.
that's true. Especially men.
Yeah.
Because we don't show that side, then we go, I can't speak to them like that, or I can't be like that with them because they've never shown me that side.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're not capable of having it.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not the thing to show.
Yeah, I think we can all, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think as men we have to just communicate more. And if you don't want to use the L-bomb, that's absolutely fine, baby steps. But being honest with another man, it's not feminine and it's not a sign of weakness. It's because you don't know, you portraying that feeling to another man could save a life.
Yeah.
Period. Because we know each other the best, like women know each other the best.
Yeah.
And we don't have the same unit and the same kind of like communication skills that like women do in their relationships. And it's time to change, because the statistics don't lie.
Even if you just say to someone, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't got to be like, I love you, but like,
Yeah.
because you might not love them.
Yeah.
But you might, you know what? I really appreciate everything you do. Like, that goes such a long way.
Which is love, by the way.
Yeah,
But
it is.
use the word you want. Like I'ma say it straight. I love you guys,
Yeah, me too, bro.
and I appreciate
No,
you.
honestly.
So do you know what I mean? I appreciate this space. I appreciate the opportunity to be here for us to speak about these things. It's important that as men that we speak to each other and allow each other to have the safe space to say those things to each other. Because if we don't, we're gonna continue to see the same shit.
Yeah. And that's a same shit. It's a great way to to wrap it up, because I always finish with a progressing question, but this one's going to be a progression request. Men, like, speak to each other, because like, I don't care if you can say the love word or not. If you can be responsible for emotionally hugging, holding, and embracing another man, the effect that will have is endless, and it's like a wildfire. Because a lot of men have not heard that from a masculine role or a male role.
Very true.
Tell them I like them, I appreciate them. Even if you can't say the L word, just things where like characteristics, or like congratulations, or like you're doing great. Just start, even if it's that surface.
Positivity.
Yeah, because we need each other.
Yeah.
And do you mind if I do a little plug?
No.
Like we have a charity for men. It's not just for men, because it's 2022. It has to be inclusive for everyone. But it was started. It's called the Jacob Abraham Foundation. It's
The who?
the Jacob Abraham Foundation. It's my brother's charity. So when he passed, my stepmom started a charity to try and use what she's experienced to help save, support, influence, whatever terminology you want to use, other people, and stop this happening. So if you need to like reach out to someone, or you need to talk to, and you don't feel like you have friends to talk to, like, you can go on Instagram and find the Jacob Abraham Foundation, or just Google it and it'll come up, and there's a phone line for you to speak to, or you can just message
Thank you so
them.
much, Kane. And we will put that also in the comment section on YouTube and on Instagram, or wherever this goes.
Yeah.
Because it's spaces like that that are also necessary, because some people don't have access to other male figures.
It's very true.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love you boys. I really do. And I appreciate
too,
my
brothers.
time with you guys. I appreciate our friendships. And just know that I'm that annoying friend, that meddling friend, that I will always be there for you in whatever shape or form you need me.
Love, brother.
And we're sending you love. And to all the men out there, I really hope this has inspired you, or at least sparked some curiosity to dig deeper and speak to each other, because at the end of the day, we've only got each other.
And women too.
You're just better than us. An emotional goodbye, and remember to keep it real without the spiel.